Today's episode of Outside the Rack is brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of the Gymaware. In today's world of strength and conditioning, data collections become the utmost of importance, and that's exactly where Gymaware separates itself from the competition. Because when we're sitting there and looking to collect data, what data are you actually collecting? And are the numbers you're looking at fitting into the exercises that you're utilizing? And even more so, are they going to answer the questions that you're looking for? Looking at different ways that you are moving the barbell through peak and mean, both velocity and power, is really what separates Gymaware from the competition. Being able to understand what your ballistic exercises are doing separate to what your strength exercises are doing really allows you to program at a much more specific level for your athletes. So hop on over to kinetic.com.au to see what Evan and his team have in store for you today. The world of strength and conditioning is filled with some fantastic practitioners that are always searching for more. But more what? What are strength and conditioning coaches searching for to better their ability to prepare their athletes? Well, what about cutting-edge information? Or a place where you can find different opinions from forward-thinking coaches on what you're doing, how you're doing, and try to get feedback to be better for your athletes? Or what about a place where you'll find like-minded coaches that can provide solid coaching advice and career development for you as you progress through your career as a strength and conditioning professional? Well, this is exactly why we built the Strength Coach Network. You'll have access to exclusive monthly content on top of the sensationally active forum that we have where you can communicate with coaches all over the world to find those answers that you're looking for to help you be a better practitioner for your athletes. So make sure you hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPs, that's strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS, and get your 48-hour trial for only $1. I look forward to seeing you in the Strength Coach Network. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 55th episode of Outside the Rack, brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of Gymaware. In this show, we're just going to try to dive a little deeper into the minds of the top practitioners of the world of sport performance, learn a little bit more about who they actually are and how they got to where they are today. Today, we are joined by the University of South Carolina's assistant strength and conditioning coach and PhD candidate for now, Keith Scruggs. Keith, my man, how you doing, buddy?
I'm almost done. I'm telling you, I got to finish editing. It's all the work's done. This is the hard part now. Is just word by word, line by line. But that's life. Got to do it.
Bro, it's the most tedious thing ever. I can tell you, I can't imagine dissertation, but going through the manuals, and I'm not good at it. I make mistakes. Yeah. There's definitely errors, and I'm human, so be it. But I don't envy the time that you have to put into that. On top of having 3 teams right now in a pandemic with restrictions that change every 7.5 minutes and what we're doing.
Class as well, and having to keep my wife happy, and yeah. But there's no excuses. I just got to find a way and just get it done. And with it being novel research that hasn't been published yet, especially in the athletic setting, I've got to make it as bulletproof as possible because there's going to be people trying to punch holes in it, and that's the tedious part.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun too, bro, is being the person to be able to go in there and, just to learn and to figure it out and to start to drive some positive direction for the profession.
Hopefully.
Yeah, man.
That's the whole objective.
No doubt. But listen, homie, before we get too far into this, who is Keith?
Some days I'm still trying to figure that out, to be honest with you. I am a coach first and foremost in my career and as a profession. Before that, I'm a husband and I'm a dog father. I've got 2 little puppies, rescue pups. So I make sure I take care of my home life first, and then I take care of everything I need to do at work. And then when it comes to that, I'm a coach first, researcher second, instructor or adjunct professor third, and just trying to be a positive person every day and trying to be a positive influence to everyone I come across. I mean, I'm seeing between 70 and 120 people every day, depending on the day. And hopefully I at least give them some spark of positivity when I come across those people when they leave.
Love it, man. That's a lot on your plate, homie.
Yeah, it's life.
Yeah, man. But I think most people like us, though, in this profession, like if you aren't that busy, we tend to not be good with time.
No, like during the quarantine, the start of the pandemic, the first week, I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed it. I didn't set an alarm for 4 a.m. I woke up when I naturally woke up, and I went to bed whenever I wanted to go to bed. And I went, I went out in the yard. I got stuff done. I didn't care. But after about a week, not having that social interaction, and I can only imagine what our student athletes were going through when this is their life. They've been used to sports their entire life, and so have I. I started going crazy, stir crazy. Like I needed to talk to people. I never call people on the phone, and I just started calling up random people. Hey, man, I haven't talked to you in 7 years, but I just needed to talk to people.
Oh man, I hear you. I hear you. And the structure helps with that as well.
Yeah.
But man, as a guy who's coaching, researching, teaching, I'm actually really intrigued to see what this is going to be, because it's these epiphanies are really unique to each individual. So if you wouldn't mind for me, bud, describe a learning situation that brought about an epiphany in your career.
So when you sent me that, the first question I wrote down was that a learning experience for me, or was it a learning experience for one of my athletes that I was responsible for?
Ooh.
So I tried to come up with an answer that kind of tied both of those together. So I think this covers both, but the first time I was asked for career/life advice from one of my athletes, that was the epiphany for me that this is more than just squats and cleans and deadlifts and lunges and med ball throws and sprints and conditioning. This is an opportunity to help young people help figure out their life. And I mean, we're all trying to figure out life. You're continually navigating through a bunch of other stuff and a bunch of BS. But the first moment that I had to actually help someone else do that, that's when it clicked with me that this is more than just sport. This is more than just strength conditioning. This is more than a coach-athlete relationship. This is building a bond. This is building an everlasting bond. And I still have athletes from 8-10 years ago that I talked to. So that was the epiphany for me, that it's bigger than life. It's outside the rack, just like the name of this podcast. It's perfect. It's fitting.
Yeah, man. I dig that. That's I think that those sort of like, I don't know, it wouldn't even be an aha. It's more just like of a head turning stop moment. Like those are when you really figure it out, you know?
Yeah. Because what led to that path, that they trusted me enough to ask me those questions, or even like going into their senior year, hey, can I use you as a reference for a grad school or for a job? Like, out of anybody that they know, why do they choose a strength conditioning coach? What kind of bond have I created with them that they trust me to give them that kind of reference? And you know that we're sometimes the most critical on them. You show up a minute late, you don't have your shoes tied, you don't get to the cone or to the line. But that's the kind of guidance and instruction that maybe they're missing other components of their life. And we're not trying to be hard on people. We're just trying to get them to achieve what they're capable of achieving. And I'm not asking for too much. And maybe that's what clicks in their mind is, I am capable of more. I am capable of more as an athlete, as a student, as a person. So you don't really, I can't pinpoint where it happens, but sometime in that 2 to 4 years, something clicks, and it clicks with a lot of them.
No doubt, man. No doubt about it. Well, listen, brother, as a guy who, again, looking to change his first name, teaching, coaching, all over the place down there. I'm fired up to hear this, because this is one, I've always been an inquisitive question asker. So if Keith could ask one question, he knows he's going to get the answer to it. What's that question going to be, and why?
So this is kind of my side hobby. So when I'm not coaching, I'm not at home spending time with my wife, I got some alone time, I look into maybe some weird stuff if people think it's weird. But so my question is, what's the complete and detailed history of our universe? because there's a lot of unknowns that we don't know about. And maybe I've been listening to and reading and following Graham Hancock, Robert Schoch, Randall Carlson. Maybe I've been following their work a little too closely. I don't know. And a lot of people call them pseudoscientists because they're not fully recognized by the scientific world and archaeologists. But that's what I started thinking of. Maybe that's kind of how strength conditioning is in our world too. We're kind of the pseudoscientists because we're actually out here doing this stuff day to day. And especially those three gentlemen, they're not just regurgitating a textbook or what they learned in the classroom and what the current accepted models and theories are. They're questioning those things. They're going out and search for those answers, and they're trying to not rewrite history with their agenda, but rewrite history with things that are unknown and we are finally discovering or rediscovering. So they bring up valid questions that we should be asking and seeking answers for. And I'm not discrediting the Bible or anything like that or any other religious text. I just think there's a lot of truth or hidden truth or things that are lost in translation that are within those texts or oral traditions. I want to know what happened prior to and after the Younger Dryas period. Have you heard of that? So, for those that don't know, the Younger Dryas period happened roughly 12,800 years ago. And it was a theory at first, but now we're finding more and more evidence of massive flooding, of heating of our structures that was coming out of the last mini ice age. We had some massive heating. What caused that? Now, well, I think it was 2018 or 2019, they found evidence using LIDAR of a large meteor that had crashed into Greenland. So if a large meteor crashes into Greenland and it's all covered in ice, it's going to cause things to heat up, and there's going to be a lot of water melting into the oceans, and the oceans are going to rise. There's also the Carolina Bays. So there's evidence somewhere up around Michigan or just over the Canadian border that possibly a meteor or something broke up coming into our atmosphere and either broke up and spread out there or made impact hard enough and large enough to where it shot things out. And if you look at aerial images of North and South Carolina and parts of Virginia and even parts of Georgia, there's like potholes of where there were impacts, and they're all coming in at a certain angle, and you can trace it back. It came from that area. So either it broke up in the sky from that area, or it made impact around that Michigan, Canada area. We just haven't found evidence of a large impact crater at this point. I think that supports a lot of the flood myths that are present in many of the cultures, from the Native Americans to Noah in the Bible, the Sumerian Gilgamesh text, and then that leads to the Babylonian stories, and you have the Bhagavad Gita in the Hindu culture. That's, and assuming that our current dating technology is accurate, we've discovered early human remains that are between 300 and 350,000 years old. So there's a lot that we don't know about ancient civilizations and possibly ancient advanced civilizations. And I'm not trying to dive into ancient aliens theories and stuff like that, and like History Channel, which I do watch that show quite frequently. But there's just a lot that we don't know about. Questions I have is like, who built the pyramids? And not just the ones in Egypt, but all around the world, because we've got pyramids in Egypt, we got pyramids in China and Bosnia and South America and Mexico and others. And are there others that were destroyed, maybe through the flood or from other events that have happened throughout our history? Why were they built and when were they built? There's still some debate on when the pyramids were built, whether that was 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, and especially the Sphinx. The Sphinx has largely been covered throughout its history with sand, but now when they've uncovered it, there's evidence of water erosion. But there hasn't been enough water to cause that kind of erosion for roughly 12,800 years. So was it built before 3 to 5,000 years ago? Was it present during the Younger Dryas period and we had flooding come through there? I don't know. A lot of unanswered questions. Was Atlantis real? And, you know, it's a mythical area, and I got into Atlantis when I was a kid. I just thought it was, you know, it was a mythical place. It was kind of crazy. But Plato said that it existed roughly 9,000 years before his time, which puts us at about that 12,800 years ago. So there's too many things that are lining up to around this period that we don't know. But then what happened the other 300,000 years before that, when we have evidence of early human civilizations and early humans, at least, not necessarily their civilizations, but early humans were present and walking around on Earth. What was going on? So yeah, I don't know. There's this. I want to know the history of our universe. Did human life, human-like extraterrestrials visit or inhabit Earth? Did they escape another planet? Was Mars previously habitable? Was our moon previously habitable? And then they had to escape something, and they came here, and that's where we had some interbreeding, just like we did with early hominids and everything else. I don't know. I don't know. We could go down this rabbit hole all day. But in short, yeah, I want to know the complete and detailed history of our universe. And I think that would answer a lot of our current questions and problems that we have today.
Bro, that's unbelievable. And I'll tell you this, that literally would have been the last thing I would have guessed.
Really?
Yeah. No, I think
I got a bald head and a beard.
No, but like it's like not just because it's different, but because how you can tie it back into like what we do in a way. Like I think that's rad.
And that's what when I teach my class, like I'll sometimes give readings or, you know, I'll have article reviews, and it'll be something that is totally perceivably unrelated. And I'll have my students question, well, why are we reading this? This has nothing to do with physiology or biomechanics or sports or anything else. I'm like, I want you to read it, and I want you to reflect on it and find a way that this ties into what you do or what you want to do. Because reading into stocks, I can find something that's going to apply. And that's the last time we talked, that's what led to one of my questions in my dissertation is we look at volatility in the stocks, and we look at, you know, how stable are they, or are they a boom or bust type of stock? But we're not looking at that in strength conditioning or athletic training or sports medicine. We're looking at peaks or best and averages, and not looking at variability. I want to see consistency. And we always say it. We say these things. Consistency is key. Why don't we track it? Why don't we look into it? But the same thing, looking at history. If you don't know history, it's bound to repeat itself. And climate change is another big topic right now. What's happened in our history that has led to massive changes in climate? And the Younger Dryas period is a massive change in climate, and it's been relatively stable since then. And we've had humans on Earth, not to our level and using machinery and everything else and having the greenhouse gases, but what happened that led to changes in their civilizations and their lifestyle and their cultures? And those are the questions we need to ask and look into. Are there things that we can prevent? Are there things that we can plan for? And that's life and that strength and conditioning.
Facts, man. I love that. Well, listen, brother, let me get you out of here on this one. I mean, it's coaching, teaching, PhD work. Got to find time to get back to zero, buddy. What's Keith's escape?
I've got two. And again, they tie back into life. My first one is yard work, landscaping around the house. And the reason I like that, because there's nothing like seeing the final product of something you helped create. I didn't grow the trees. I didn't grow the grass. I'm not giving it the sunlight. That's all stuff that's natural. I do water the grass with irrigation system, but yeah, I helped create it. But when you shape things up and you can sit back and reflect and see the final product, it's very appealing. It's very pleasing, because especially in coaching, I feel like we never fully see the final product. We help create stuff throughout their 4 years here, 5 years sometimes. But you know that they're capable of more, especially the ones that go on and play professionally and they hit another level. But you help create that, so to actually sit back and see something that you've worked hard on and having instant gratification of seeing the results. That's it. Same thing with life. We're never fully matured, so we never fully see the final product in front of our eyes. But yeah, landscaping, yard work. Then my second one is golf, because there's nothing like a friendly reminder to remain humble.
No doubt.
Yep. That's it. Landscaping and golf, man.
And both will humble you, man. Like, you do all that work and then you walk out and it's like all of a sudden there's a clover or there's something and it's just like, man.
I got mushrooms popping up. Yesterday,
everywhere. Dude, I got that everywhere too. I'm like, where is this coming from?
I left for work the night before, walked my dogs, and I checked that one area that I always have mushrooms. Didn't see a single one. Left the next morning, gave it a glance. It's dark. I didn't see anything. By the time I got home, now granted that was 14 hours later, I had 6 mushrooms pop up. It's crazy.
They explode. They're just like, they come from nowhere and all of a sudden it's just like, they're like, and I don't know what it is. And it started when that hurricane came up the coast.
Yeah.
I don't know what was in that water. Just saying, like, I mean, I'm not trying to gross nobody out here, but like those things don't come from nowhere. Like, they grow off stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, where, like, I'm with you, man.
They only grow in it's kind of a sign that you have a healthy yard or healthy soil, because they only grow in healthy soil. So if it's too acidic, then they won't grow. So it's a good sign that the soil is good for growth. But at the same time, yeah, I got to pick those things up every day.
Yeah, pass. Pass. Well, listen, brother, as always, great to see you. Great to catch up. Glad you're doing well. Fired up.
Give a last shout out to my man Ric Flair here.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. If you need one of these, RicFlair.com, RicFlairShop.com.
Keith's going to get a nickel every time they buy one. But no, man, I'm fired up for this next month and you being able to change that first name, brother, because that's a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of time. And I'm glad you're finally getting to see the fruits of your labor. So
the crazy part of that is I was the first one in my family on either side to graduate with a bachelor's degree. And now I'll be graduating with a PhD. And I'm just like history. I'm trying to change my family tree.
Good for you, brother. Good for you. Keith, as always, man, awesome to see you. Thanks so much for your time. Cheers, brother.